Hello everyone, today I am going to present a concept of deep learning, that is building blocks of deep neural networks. So what is what is introduction to deep neural networks? So what is deep neural network? A deep neural network is a type of artificial neural network with multiple layers between input and output. It learns to model complex patterns in data by stacking layers of neurons and optimizing their weights through training. It inspired by brain layer structure wide applications. Inspired by brain means it is a concept of neural networks is biologically inspired, model loosely on the structure and function of the human brain. It includes two types, biological neurons and artificial neurons. Layer structure means DNNs are composed of multiple layers of artificial neurons, that is input layer, hidden layer and output layer. Wide applications used in image recognitions, language processing and more. What is artificial neuron? It is also called as perceptron. Artificial neuron, also known as perceptron or node, is the basically building block of a neural network. It mimics the behavior of a biological neuron by receiving inputs, processing them and producing an output. Components of artificial neuron is basic unit, activation and output forwarding. It means basic unit means receives input and applies weighted sums plus bias. Activation means passes result through activation function for output. Output forwarding means output is sent to next layer for further processing. So which layer is included in neural network? That is input layer, hidden layer and output layer. Input layer role is feeds raw data into the network. Each neuron represents a feature in your data. Multiple hidden layers means its role is learn hierarchical representation of the data. Lower layers learn basic features. Higher layers learn complex patterns, that is shapes, digits or objects. Output layers means it produces the final result of the network, that is the prediction. Next is activation function. So what is activation function? An activation function determines whether a neuron should be activated or not by transforming the weighted sum of inputs into an output. Without nonlinear activations, a deep network will behave like a linear model, no matter how many layers it has. What is sigmoid in deep neural networks? The sigmoid function is an activation function used in neural networks, including DNNs. It introduces non-linearity and helps neurons make decisions based on weighted input. What is ReLU? ReLU stands for Rectified Linear Unit. It is one of the most commonly used activation function in deep neural networks, especially in the hidden layers. Next is TANH. In deep neural networks, TANH is an activation function typically used in hidden layers to add non-linearity and help the network learn complex relationships. TANH is also called as hyperbolic tangent. Next is softmax. Softmax is an activation function used primarily in the output layer of a deep neural network for multi-class classification tasks. It converts the raw data output scores of the network into probabilities that sum to 1, so each output can be interpreted as the likelihood that the input belongs to a particular class. Sigmoid gives output between 0 and 1, and TANH gives output between -1 and 1. What is weights and biases? Weight is a numerical value that represents the strength and direction of the connection between two neurons in adjacent layers of a neural network. It scales the input before it is passed to the next layer. Explanation how it is work. In a DNN, each neuron in one layer is connected to every neuron in the next layer. In a fully connected layer, the weight determines how important a given input is to the neuron's output. What is biases? A bias is a trainable scalable value that is added to the weighted sum of a neuron's inputs before applying the activation function. It allows the network to shift the activation function to better fit the data. How it works, the bias acts like the intercept in the linear equation. It ensures that the neuron can activate, that is output a non-zero value even when the weighted sum of inputs is zero. This improves the network's expressiveness and flexibility, enabling it to model more complex relationships. So the next is loss function, that is measuring prediction error. So what is loss function? Loss function is a mathematical function that measures the difference between the predicted output of the model and the actual output, that is true value. It tells the network how wrong it is and provides a quantitative signal that is used to improve the model through training. The goal of training a DNN is to minimize this loss over all training examples. So the next is optimization algorithm. That is the three optimization algorithm are given: gradient descent, stochastic gradient descent, and ADAM. Gradient descent means minimizes error by iteratively adjusting weights. Stochastic gradient descent means updates weights using single sample per iteration. ADAM means combines SGD advantages with adaptive learning rates. Thank you.